It's not 5 o'clock, and they don't care. Welcome to Wine to 5. Entertainment, education, and everyday drinking for everyday people. Your hosts are Valerie Caruso and Stephanie Davis, two wine educators who don't need a clock to know when to pour that next glass.
Welcome to episode 188 of the Wine to 5 podcast. I'm Val. I'm here in Colorado Springs, and I'm Skyping with my co-host Steph up in Fort Collins today.
Hey, everybody. This episode, we are chatting with the COO of WTSO, Wine Still Sold Out, Justin Kite. So welcome to the podcast, Justin.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, we're so glad you're here. And for those of you that COO is Chief Operating Officer, that's correct, Justin?
It is. We're not really big on titles around these parts, but yeah, that's what it means.
Just to give you a little bit of an idea of what we're going to be talking about here with Justin. First, we're going to give you a little bio, but Wine Still Sold Out, most of you know, is our generous show sponsor, and we were kind of curious about the way they operate and some of the things that they do. So if you're a new listener and you didn't already know, hopefully this answers some questions for you. But we're really curious about Wine Still Sold Out, so we're going to talk with Justin a little bit, and he has been with Wine Still Sold Out, and you're actually one of the founders of WTSO, and you've been there for well over 10 years. Is that correct?
Yeah. I came aboard a few months in. I worked for the parent company, which is primarily two liquor stores in New Jersey from prior to the online business starting. And from that point, a couple months in, I came aboard the WTSO part of the company. So.
All right. And here's where we brag on you a little bit, because Justin has an overwhelming amount of wine knowledge because he travels every year to maintain WTSO's quality levels in sourcing. And Justin has scheduled WTSO's wine offerings from the very beginning. He's got a strong understanding of what our members want and when they want it. And he's passionate, no frills. He's a wine lover who's able to cut through all the fluff and create genuine and valuable wine relationships all over the world. And that is why we're all here today. So let's get into it.
Yeah. Justin, are you ready?
I am. Yep.
All right. No fluff. Cut through the fluff. Let's go.
Right.
That's right. No frills. Well, so for anyone unfamiliar with WTSO, Justin, give us the down low on the online wine buying service that WTSO provides.
Sure. WTSO is an online wine retailer. We're sort of a flash sale model, which means we offer one wine at a time. It begins at midnight Eastern every day, and only that wine is available for sale until it's either sold out or sort of the sales slow down, and then we replace it with another wine, and you cannot buy that prior wine again until possibly we offer it again. Like I said, 5 offers a day. Each offer has all the information you need to make your purchase decision. You know, any information, ratings, technical data, anything that may affect your purchase decision will be included in the offer, and you can kind of make your decision right then and there. And from that point on, you can just go onto the site or join our email list or get our app notifications from your iPhone or Android device. So that's the way that we reach out to our customers. We've been in business for 12 years, and we've been doing this, the WTSO portion for that period of time. We started a few other businesses that we'll get into, but from the WTSO portion, we've been we're probably one of the oldest wine retailers, online wine retailers in the country. So.
Okay, so for anyone unfamiliar with WTSO, and it took me a little bit too, Steph has ordered from you guys before and I had not. So I'm like trying to figure out, like, wait a minute. I see, for example, on your website, you've got the Giassi and Marchigiani Montepulciano d'Abruzzo Nerubé 2016. I don't know if we're allowed to talk about your specials on the show, but is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Yeah. $17.99, normally a $38 bottle. And so what that is your daily special. I see them tweeted out throughout the day.
Yep. Yeah, we do that also, yeah.
Okay. So if we go to WTSO.com, you're going to see what's available until midnight Eastern tonight.
Yeah, not necessarily till midnight. It's there's 5 a day, so it'll switch out at some point.
Okay.
Probably around 6 o'clock, another hour or so. Then you'll see another offer. If you're on our email list, you'll get emailed that offer. If you have any of the other ways that we have to notify you, you'll get them through those means. Uh-huh. But yeah, so it's a constant cycling. In my glowing bio there, that was the scheduling aspect of the site, is that there's a a lot of factors that will determine whether, what time period a wine goes on, what slot in the day a wine goes on. So there's a little bit of a little game that I play every day to sort of schedule each wine. But yeah, each wine that you see is the only thing available for sale basically on the site at a time. There's a few other pages if you explore the site that you can sort of buy some other stuff, but generally the core business is that one wine that's available. There's a discount aspect to each offer, which is sort of our main marketing, pull for each product, but also we want to get across that it's not just a discount driven site, but we sell wines at all price points from all regions, all varietals, all countries. It's not just, $10 wine that's on the site, but it is discounted.
Okay, that was actually going to be my next question, because if you can't see me, I turned my camera off. My mouth is wide open because I'm on the site right now, and I just figured out how to get to the more wines. And I see that you've got the Champagne Veuve Clicquot Le Grand Dame, which is the grand mark of the Veuve Clicquot house. Yeah, normally $165. Now you've got it for $109. And so now I'm seeing this variety of wines you guys have on there. You got to answer the question, though, because people want to know, how do you offer such incredible discounts?
As a company, and as long as we've been doing it, there's a common misconception that we sort of are this house that sells closeouts. We find something in a distributor's, in the back of their warehouse or something, a pallet or two, and we put it on the website. It's not the case. We're very relationship driven. We work very closely with hundreds of wineries, and we sell vintage after vintage of wineries that really, where their philosophy really sort of coincides with ours, and we have good synergies. Because of that, and because of the fact that we're very transparent up front in our dealings with the initial conversation we have with the winery as to what price we would need to sell the wine at to move the volume that, the winery is expecting and we're expecting. Everybody knows up front, exactly what to expect. So they're either comfortable with it and we have a relationship with them and we were able to sell a lot of wine, or they're not comfortable with it, and that's okay. We're not for everybody. Everything's sort of done up front, and going from year to year with a winery, if it works for them, it really works for them. And they are happy with the business that we can give them because it's a constant cash flow. They only have to worry about their direct to consumer sales. We're pretty much the closest thing that you can come to direct to consumer sales outside of a winery, because they're not making a deal with a wholesaler or distributor. I'm talking now primarily about domestic wineries. And at that point, they can't control any part of the process at that point. And, their wine can show up on Wine Search or on Google somewhere at a price that is way below anything they're ever comfortable with. And that's really what we hear most from wineries that we visit, that it becomes almost untenable for them to deal with pricing that just sort of bastardizes their product. So for us, we feel a good outlet for a lot of wineries to get their wine in the hands of consumers that aren't on their mailing list, that haven't visited their winery, that don't know who they are, and we do it at an affordable price. And then, the hope is, and what's proven out over time is that once they drink the bottle, love the bottle, they can't get it from us again. They inevitably contact the winery, and then all of a sudden they have a ready-made customer at hopefully the full winery price. So I think we provide almost a marketing vehicle for, a winery that feels like they want to be in that channel.
Okay, I'm just going to go on record and say that you're like Match.com for wine and people, because you mentioned how relationships play a role in this. But we're kind of curious because, you do have these relationships with these wineries and these winemakers. Do you have any stories that you can tell that the listeners might want to hear?
Yeah, so, and this has been replicated several times, but one of our big success stories is a relationship we had for a long time. It no longer exists. It has nothing to do with with us. It's just the winery was sold. But Sullivan Winery in Rutherford in Napa. In 2013, we were our supplier, our agent that brings us deals, was approached by a new sort of management team that came in and took over the winery. It was family owned, and it was still family owned at that point, but they brought in some new folks to run the winery because I guess they were struggling to sell some wine. So they contacted our agent. We went on a buying trip in January of that year, and they had some 2007 Rutherford Cabernet. Not so difficult for us to sell. We told them the price that it had to be, and they you sort of get that skeptical look. They were new to the winery, so they didn't want to make anybody upset that they worked for, but they also knew that they had to move the product. So a lot of our relationships start off that way where, and because we're unique, we're not the normal distributor that you're going to deal with or somebody that the winery's going to deal with, that they're used to the way it's going to go. So this is different for them. So although it seemed painful for them, we made the deal, and we thought, okay, so possibly there could be something in the future, and possibly not. So we went along. 60 days later, we sold the wine. It sold great, as expected. There was another lot of it. They were more than happy to sell us the second lot of it. We sold it again. We thought, okay, well, that's probably it. But where they were really progressive, the folks around the winery, were to deal with problems that may crop up or perceived problems, so they turned it into opportunities. Like I said, it's an opportunity if someone contacts them and says, hey, I saw your wine, I bought your wine for $100 and I saw it on WTSO for $30. What gives? Well, instead of losing a customer, they said, you can buy as much as you want for $30 from us.
Wow.
Or we can sell you the current vintage for $30. Or come to the winery and we'll give you an experience. And they used it as a marketing tool. And I thought that was really smart, and it worked well for them. And we have a pretty broad customer base and a member list. And, so that goes everywhere from, a very novice wine drinker to a very sophisticated wine drinker, and people that, have a lot of expendable income to travel and do things. And we get requests all the time. Hey, set me up with some appointments in Napa. And every time we would send them to Sullivan, and they loved they just built a new tasting room. They loved the foot traffic, and there was just a ton of synergy, and they got what we did and what we provided for them, and we were able to put excellent wine on the site. So it worked great for both parties. And sure enough, there was a 2012 was the next vintage that they had available, and then 2013 and 2014, and it kept going until sort of they had some other issues and then kind of stopped. But it was a great relationship for a long time, and we do that in several different ways with wineries. We're good because if you don't have a lot of wine to sell us this year, that's okay. We'll buy what you have and we'll go on to the next year as long as it's quality.
Find your match on WTSO.com.
There you go.
I think that's good, Val. You're so funny. Well, I think we should also talk about weekly tasting and the relationships that you have with the Masters of Wine and Master Sommeliers, those ladies that are helping you out, picking out some outstanding wines. How did that idea come about to create weekly tasting by WTSO?
We're always trying to find ways to grow the business through WTSO and through other means. And we just always talked over lunch, all the executives and the owner, and we are always trying to figure out different ways of growing the company. And we said, let's try something different. Let's try something new. We're not going to step out of the realm of wine. We're not going to do anything that we, that isn't our territory, but let's try something new. And a lot of companies do wine clubs and different things, and that just kind of isn't for us. If we were going to a new venture, we wanted to put our stamp on it. We wanted to be unique in some way, and we feel like the weekly tasting was sort of the perfect concept for that. We, first of all, wanted to sell more than wine in this venture. It was our main goal is sort of to sell an experience more so than just the wine. And that's fine. I mean, that's our other business, and that works great for us there. But this, we want to do something different. It's great if you have a trusted, wine maven at a store that you go in and he always has the perfect bottle for you, and you can talk to him or her and they, and regardless of what occasion you're going in or for what, meal to pair with or whatever, they're going to have the perfect bottle for you. You can have an interaction with them. Online, it's much more difficult, but we want to still try to create that experience. And we want to sort of give the consumer an intro into the wine world that isn't it can be pretty intimidating at times, especially if your initial experience is you sort of get an experience of, I just don't get it. Whatever this person's telling me, I just don't understand it. To do that, we sort of just wanted to find some people that had the right credentials, the right experience, but also were able to convey wine in a very educational, but also a non-intimidating sort of way.
A relaxed. Those ladies are fun and they're relaxed, sure. And yeah.
Yep. So the concept basically was to have a themed pack every week. It's not a club. You don't sign up to get a pack a week or a month or whatever. We don't just auto bill your credit card or anything like that. It's you go on and you decide whether you want to buy that pack or not. Each pack is themed in a certain way. It's 2 to 4 bottles per pack, depending on the offer for the week. And it's themed in some ways, 2 different expressions of a varietal, maybe 4 wines from the same region in France, wines that go well with that pair well with certain foods. So a variety of different things that we do, and each wine's different. And alternating weeks, we have a master sommelier, Laura Manick, a master of wine, Jennifer Simonetti Bryan. They switch on and off each week, and they accompany the offer with a 10-minute video that you get if you order the pack. But really, what kind of sets us apart for us, and what we wanted to do to be more genuine and just sort of set us apart from some of these other, sort of clubs or some other, ways of buying that you hear about, is that we don't shove anything down anyone's throats as far as offers go for these two women. They have full control over what they select and how they select it. And, we kind of go back and forth with the themes, but ultimately they have control on what the theme is. So it's not like we buy a pallet of wine and say, hey, you have to market this wine and sell it. It's their stamp of approval. They love the wine. They feel like the wine fits whatever they're trying to get across in that week's pack. And I think that comes across in the videos because, there's too many times where you can tell that the person talking on the other end doesn't have necessarily the buy-in that you would think that they should. I think that's sort of what sets us apart. And they're very passionate about what they do, and they're at the top of their particular field. So, I think it really brings some validation and some accreditation to our site. So it's been fun for us. We've been doing it for about a year and a half now, I think. And it's growing and it's doing well, and we're we get really positive customer feedback, so it's a really fun venture for us.
Now, you guys do a little bit of philanthropy work too, don't you?
Yeah, we try, certainly like any company, we try to give back. Our main way of doing it is for filling donation requests and those sorts of things on a case by case basis. You would be surprised how difficult it is to actually try to give your money to a national organization when it comes from alcohol. That's more difficult than you think, because we've tried that before and a lot of people won't take our money. So we go through donations a lot of times. Some other things we're passionate about, especially in the business that we're in. We had a couple of days last year to support Napa and Sonoma counties after the wildfires. That's obviously very, very close to us, and affected a lot of not only business associates, but friends. And that whole area was pretty devastated by the fires. So we had a couple of days where our proceeds of the sales went to relief, and some good organizations out there to help the folks out there. So we do everything we can to support the local community, to support events and different things, whatever's asked of us. If it's in our, if it's a possibility, we definitely do it. So
I was like looking around for some of your favorite causes, because I see where you guys raised, looks like over $17,000 for the Napa Valley Community Foundation.
Yes.
And that was after the Northern California wildfires.
Napa and Sonoma, the Community Foundation, I just want to get the names right, and Sonoma County Resilience Fund.
Oh, there they are. Okay, I found them.
Yeah. Yeah, and we do a Special Olympics event every year, a golf outing, and we've been really active with City of Hope in the past, which is a really good foundation, cancer hospitals. Again, we try to do everything we can, just because we get a lot of requests from our members also, and charities that they're passionate about, but anyway, yeah. So we basically do everything we can to support as many charities as possible.
Well, what we can do, we can link up your WTSO.com/community page, and has a lot of your charitable events and things on there, and our listeners can just go there and check
Perfect.
it out. Will that work for you?
That would be great. That would be great.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we love that kind of stuff here, because Val and I both do quite a bit of giving back and doing some community work and stuff. So I think it's important, and it helps, again, connect people, right? So
Sure.
The human connection is so important. And speaking of that, we do have holidays coming up. So how does WTSO and weekly tasting accentuate the holiday and gift giving season?
I mean, nothing's better than alcohol, right?
There you go. And that's our
yeah.
show. I'm just kidding.
Well, we're going to let you go now and go drink some more wine.
Yeah. So we have around holiday time on WTSO, we have a holiday portal, we call it. It's just essentially a tab on the site that takes you to a different page, and there's a variety of selections on there that are all free shipping on one bottle, or some of them are 2-pack, so it'd be free shipping on the 2-pack. From there, the process is pretty simple. You can if you want to give a gift to one person or 100 people, you can upload addresses, and we make the process as simple as possible. And we do all the work, gift notes in the boxes, handle all the, special shipping requests to ship on certain days, whatever the case may be. And weekly tasting, we have, I think just the pack itself is a good gift, and especially somebody trying to sort of get into wine, learn a little bit about a certain region or something like that. And we also have a couple of intro wine tasting classes that are on the site that are essentially 6 bottles of wine instead of 4, a more in-depth video, and some other things to get you started. Of course, the corporate ordering page, we call it, is the holiday gift page, and that's been pretty successful for us the last couple of years. That it seems to be a gift that people like giving to their clients, especially. And something that seems, I guess, slightly a little more hand selected, because they sort of have different selections, and it's not all the same wine to every single person. So I think if you're in the same office and you got a different bottle than I got, I think maybe I feel like somebody put a little more time or effort into the gift for that year. So,
hey, got a question though. Where is the holiday portal? Is it on Weekly Tasting, or is it on WTSO, or when is that going to be visible?
It's on WTSO, and I believe it's live I think actually next week.
Okay, good. Okay, so I'm like, I'm not seeing it. All right, yes.
Goes next to the More Wines tab, yeah.
All right, so by the time this airs, which will be mid-November, we should be able to have access to the holiday portal because, to quote Justin, nothing's better than alcohol, which is why we're here. So, yep. Justin, we got to ask if you've got some kind of, and I bet you do, have an embarrassing or a funny wine story. And we share these to let our listeners know that no matter what happens in the world of alcohol, we're going to get through it. If we've dropped bottles, we've poured wine on people or whatever, because laughing at ourselves is a good thing. So we want to keep it real, and I'm guessing that you can keep it real with a story.
Yeah, well, I have a lot of embarrassing stories on a daily basis, but wine related, yeah, I was trying to think something in particular, but I've had a lot of accidents. We've when we go on our tasting trips and buying trips in California, myself and actually I'll dime him out a little bit, Joe, our CEO. He's way worse than me. By the end of the day, even as you're tasting through and not consuming but spitting the wine, you still start to get a little punchy by the end of the day. And we've had some pretty severe accidents in our hotel lobby. That is usually our tasting layout for the day, and we have wineries come to us. And I've had there's nothing worse, and this has happened a few times, than the 3-hour-old dump bucket that's been used for every wine known to man that you've been spitting the wine into all day, and then you go to pick it up and it just goes all over everybody, including the person trying to buy wine from. So yeah, those are usually the fun things that happen at the end of the day, when really all you want to do is go to dinner and drink a beer or something, not clean up a bunch of wine all over a prospective winery that's going to sell you wine. So yeah, that's happened more than once, I'll tell you. I'll put it to you that way.
Meaning you've survived it more than once too.
Yeah, most of the time it's not me, so I'm usually okay. So.
The backwash bucket.
So yeah,
we all know the backwash bucket. Yeah, or when it's too full and you spit into it and it goes back up into your face. Yeah, that
also happens quite a bit. Yeah. You can't really identify that until that moment, right?
Yep. That's a good story, though. So, yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think that's our first dump bucket story stuff.
I think so. I think you had a spit cup story that you shared a few episodes back, Val, but no dump bucket story, I don't think.
That's a good one. Thank you.
Yes. Well, is there anything else you want to share with our listeners, Justin, before we let you go?
Yeah, if anybody has any questions or wants to find out more about the website, you can contact our customer service department, wines@WTSO.com, or me directly. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Justin@WTSO.com.
And there you go. That's our ad read for this week. And you can actually go to your own listener page at weeklytasting.com/W25 to sign up and get started. Or you can go to the WTSO webpage and start clicking around on these wine deals because they're ridiculous. And of course, we've got the grapes logo on our webpage as well. But Justin, thank you so much for hanging out with us and giving us a little bit more insight in how WTSO works. I actually understand it a lot better now.
A lot of insight. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really helpful. So thank you for spending the time.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Oh my God, Steph, that was so enlightening. I am like sitting here, first of all, before we move on to shout outs, I'm looking at the deals page, and I guess I've never seen this part of the page. It's still, I've clicked around before. I'm like, well, how do you see what all is there? Right?
Oh, okay.
Do you see
I didn't know
this?
that. You didn't. Yeah, I didn't. Okay. So usually when I'm on there, I go to the tab that says more wines.
Yeah, I just did that.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize you hadn't done that. That's why I said they usually have like 12 different wines or something.
Huh.
Yeah, I know. They have really great deals. And I thought it was really helpful the way that he explained all that, because I didn't realize. I thought that it really was more of that, hey, we have a couple of cases we need to get rid of. Like at the back of a liquor store, like he said that they're not doing. I thought that was interesting. And some of that relationship stuff I think was good. And
Yeah. Should we move on?
Yes.
So we should move on to shout outs. Well, big thanks to Justin for coming and hanging out with us today, and the team at WTSO, Julie, Athena, Vicky, and Sarah.
And we have a shout out to Kathy, Side Hustle Wino, and her hashtag W25 challenge. I thought it was fun that she posted not just on Facebook and the community page, but also making some tweets out there about a cool German Pinot Noir that she had. And she said, I'm really kind of digging this German Pinot Noir. Notes of herb, stone, tar, and black cherry. Great acidity with solid structure and lingering finish. Look at that color. So yeah, a Spätburgunder, very cool from Becker Vineyards. And thanks for sharing, Kathy.
Oh my gosh, I love German Pinot. Spätburgunder. Yes, absolutely. I think I saw that on Twitter. She taught us to tag people in Twitter to get their attention. So you've been warned. We've seen it. We're going to add it to our hashtag WT5 moments. So thank you so much. I love Side Hustle on Twitter. She's a lot of fun.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Good job, Kathy.
And also, we're going to link up the blogs for Bonaquisti or Denver Wine Radio. I didn't know that they were the only radio station inside an active winery, but that makes sense. So we're going to link up because Lee, their PR person, has all these pictures and all these really cool these features in this blog. So she actually featured some pictures from our visit that we didn't have, so you may not have seen before. And also in the Sparkle Plenty website blog, which they supplied us with our Sparkle blingy t-shirts that we love. Those three things kind of come together in those blog posts. So we're going to link those up for you because that's one big happy family all up in there.
Yes, and thank you, Lee. Great job.
Speaking of happy family, Steph.
Patreon love time. So, to our Reserva Superiore supporter, Robin from Girls Gone Grape, and our Reserva supporter, Auntie in Georgia, and our tenacious tasters, Jeff E. from the We Like Drinking podcast, Sebastian of Sassy Italy Tours, Jen in Maryland, David and Lisa in Illinois, Anne-Marie in Virginia, Lynn of Savor the Harvest blog, and Sharon in Florida.
And our It's Not 5 o'clock and We Don't Care listeners. In South Dakota, we have Meg. In Arizona is Clay. In California is John, Andrew, Iswani, and Kristen. In Ontario, Canada, we have Chantel. In Pennsylvania, Mary Lou. In Georgia, Kathy. In Colorado, Chris, Janet, and Diane. In Illinois, Stephen Renee. In Tennessee, Kathy. In Ohio, Sean. And in North Carolina, Ashley and Sarah.
And our Tastemaker listeners, David in Scotland, Carol in Kentucky, Karen in California, Chip and Katie in Pennsylvania, Serena in New York, Annie in Colorado, and Danielle.
And you can go to wine2five.com, click on support, and show your support, and find more details on how to be part of that Patreon pack or our family there. Between our weekly episodes, you can find goodies on our website. I put some more on there just today, and you can go to wine2five.com for all of that. Find us in our social spaces, also at wine25. But until next week.
Thank you for listening to the Wine to Five podcast.
Cheers.
Be sure to check us out at Facebook/WineTWO5 and tune in next week for more fun and useful sip tips.